On number 3, what is the length? Remember, we're looking for PQ, so we're just going right across here. What is the length of PQ, Jonah?
5 units.
5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We counted out. We get 5 units. Mark 5. Let's keep moving. All right. On number 4. Number 4. One way you can do that is you can draw out a graph and you can actually count it out. What I would probably do, because isn't a graph just made up of number lines, it's a number line going across and a number line going up and down. Well, if, like on A, my number line going across, do you see how they both have 2's for their x? Yeah. It says 2 and it says 2. I'm putting a line through those because if they're the same number, does that tell me anything? No. But when I have different numbers here, like a 7 and a -1, that's going to be what I need to know on the number line. Does that make sense? Yeah. Those are the y's, so technically it would be going up and down. So if I have a number line, let's see, I'll start at 7. I'm going to go down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1. That's how that number line will work, right? How far apart are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do y'all see how I really only had to look at the numbers that do not match? Are y'all okay with that? Could I have graphed it? Could I have graphed that out? Sure. All right. Let's look here. My 3's would go away, so I'd be looking at 5 to 12. So I'm going to draw, again, that's my up and down. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How far apart are those? Drew?
6. Wait. Yeah, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so those are 7 apart, right?
Is it okay if I did that on this graph?
Yeah, on the big graph, like the right. Yes, absolutely. All right. So here I don't need the 1, so I'm just going to look at 6 and -1. Guys, think about it. -1 is going backwards. So there's 1 going backwards. And then I'm going forwards by 6. If they're going different directions, how far apart are they?
7.
They're 7 apart. Do y'all agree with that? All right. If I look at here, I know we've already done 5 and 12. We're going to talk about it again real quick. If I go forward 5, and then I go forward on the other one, 12, what would I do to get that missing piece? 7? 12 minus 5, which is, 12 minus 5, which is 7. So I'd still get 7 there, right? So obviously it asks which one is 8 units apart. We got that answer right away. Make sure you choose the correct answer choice for when I grade that on Thursday. We did the homework together yesterday, so we should be ready to start out our notes for today. So, table of contents. All right, when you're doing your table of contents, real quick, I want you to listen, pause, breathe. Real quick, I'm going to let you move in just a second. I'm going to pass out your notes paper. I want you to go ahead and get out a piece of paper so we can do this work on it, so we don't have to stop in the middle for you to get out paper. Does that make sense? I'll pass out our notes. Go ahead and get out a piece of paper while you set up your table of contents, okay? Go ahead. Now you can move. Just going to move again.
I like to move it.
Do I think it's warm in here?
Yes.
I feel like my face is like bright red.
Yep.
It is.
Okay, thanks.
Your cheeks are not your whole face.
Rosy cheeks today.
I'm saying yes, but I have a jacket on and a watch.
This one. I am going to. Cameron, will you turn around? Is that on auto or is it turned off? Okay, can you crank that down? What number is on there? 69. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Turn that one on auto.
I guess.
There you go. All right. Yes.
Wait, we're not doing the
Yes, I'm gonna. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, your time, your homework. I can answer one person at a time, and I just had 3 people say my name and start talking, so I don't know what y'all said. All right. Dylan, you had an extra, so I'll get that from you. All right. Okay, some of y'all have seen Stem and Leaf. Raise your hand if you have Miss Wright as a science teacher. Fantastic. I love Miss Wright. She taught math for a while. So she did. She taught math at her last school that she was at. So us math teachers love Miss Wright because she's on top of things. All right. She also has showed y'all about the stem and leaf plot before. Now the stem and leaf we're going to do is differently. It's a little bit different. She had a stem, and then the ones place was all out to the side. On one side. We're going to do something called a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. If you do not have Miss Wright, do not worry, because we're going to start from scratch like no one's seen it. Because I do have quite a few people in here that do not have Miss Wright. So my folks that do, please just remember that and be patient real quick. All right. I want to talk about stem and leaf for a second before I put it in our notes. I just want to talk about where the stem is and where the leaf is, and we're talking about some numbers, okay? You do not have to write this down on your paper. This is just so that it's visible in my video. If I write it on the board, they can't see it, okay? All right. When we're talking about a stem and a leaf of a number, the leaf always has to be, does anyone remember what place value my leaf is always going to be? Drew? My leaf is always going to be, Jay? The ones. Shh. Your leaf is always going to be the ones place, okay? So if I have a number like 24, which part is my leaf? Holland? 4. And we're going to talk about how to put this in a chart in a minute, but for right now I'm just going to make it a pretty leaf. All right? And then 2 is my stem. So do you see how it's made a stem with a little leaf attached to it? Hence the word stem and leaf. Okay. I did. All right, what if I have the number, these are just examples, this isn't in our notes, we're just doing these together. Dylan, let's focus for a second, okay? What if I have a number like 75? What is the stem? What is my stem, Aaron? 7. And what is my leaf, Joelle? 5. The 5. Okay, if I have a number like 17, what is my stem, Evan? 1. What is my leaf, Ryan? 7. Are there questions on how I'm picking the stem and leaf? It's really nice and easy when they're 2-digit numbers. What if I gave you a number like 273? What is my stem? Lyndon. 2. What is my stem? Catherine. 27, because what does my leaf have to be?
1.
The ones place. So my stem has to be that entire number in front of the ones. Are we okay with that?
What if you got like 1 million?
I'm not going to give you that to put in a stem and leaf plot. Guys, there are numbers that you wouldn't want to use a stem and leaf graph for. Okay?
Would you use different graphs?
Probably so. All right. Guys, please remember that when we ask silly questions, that it takes up the time where we could be getting our work done and moving on to our notes and moving on to our homework, which we desperately want to finish. Joelle?
If you have a decimal, how would you do it?
You wouldn't use a stem and leaf. Okay? Or we'd have to set it up differently. All right? JC? Yes. London?
But you can't see the 1 anymore because you drew the leaf over.
That's why we're going to put it in a chart. We're just talking about stem. We haven't even started our notes, guys. Have not even started our notes. This is just so when I start putting stems and leaves in certain places, you're not going, oh, where did that come from? Oh, where did that come from? My leaves are always the ones. My stem is always what's in front. All right, if I had the number 470, what is my stem? Holland? 47. What is my leaf? JC? 0. Okay. If I had the number 6, what is my stem? Cameron? What is my stem? Jonah?
Nothing or 0?
We would have to put a 0 here for our stem because what number is in the tens place?
0.
A 0. We need something to hold that leaf there or it's just going to kind of drift away. All right, and then my leaf here would be the 6. So if I had a number like 9, what's my stem? Joelle? 0, and my leaf is 9. Are we okay with that? All right. I want us to go ahead and get started on our notes. We're going to see some more numbers there. Holland, do you have a question?
Yeah, does that happen a lot where it's just one number?
No, but you're going to see it in the notes today.
So it's just a good thing.
It's good to know. All right. So for our notes today, this is going to be number 13. All right. As I said before, we are going to talk about stem and leaf, but we're going to go straight into a back-to-back stem and leaf. All right, so what that means is I'm not just talking about one person's test scores. I'm talking about Kelsey's test scores and Tammy's test scores. Now, if they're two different people, I've got to keep them separated. So that's like if you and your friend, it's basically going to be like if like Tammy and Kelsey stand back to back, Kelsey's scores are going to be in front of her, Tammy's scores are going to be in front of her. All right, guys, when we're doing statistics, and I have a list of numbers, what makes this list of numbers a little bit easier to work with? Jay? Joelle? When we put them in order. If I put them in order, that's going to make it a little bit easier. Didn't y'all agree? Wouldn't y'all agree? Okay. So we're going to start on number 1 by putting them in order. So Kelsey's test scores, I'm going to write them on one side, Tammy's on the other, because does Tammy want Kelsey's scores? No. All right. You want your own information, okay? I'm pretty sure in this case, Tammy does not want Kelsey's scores, okay? So, let's list out Kelsey's scores, starting with the smallest. If someone can list those out for me, Bella. 68. And Bella, I'm just going to let you kind of go through them for me, if you will. So after 68, what am I going to have? 76. Perfect. And I'm marking them out as she calls them out so we don't miss any, okay? 86. Perfect. 89, excellent. 91, 93, 97, and 100. Perfect. All right, and again, guys, if we will mark those out as we go, I won't leave any of them out. Yes, sir. Let's do that at the beginning, please. All right, Tammy's scores. Aaron?
75.
75.
78.
78. 85.
Wait, no, 83.
Oh, 83. Yeah, don't forget that one. Good catch.
2 times.
We do need the 85 twice. Excellent job.
93, 99, and 100.
93, 99, and 100. Okay. All right, so now we're going to set up our stem and leaf. So on one side, I'm going to have Kelsey's test scores. So Kelsey's, and I'm just going to put Kelsey's test. All right, I need to leave a gap in my chart. So this is going to be the actual stem. Are y'all okay with that? This is going to be the actual stem, and then I'm going to have Tammy's test. Okay, are we okay with that? So I have Kelsey's test, I have Tammy's test. Now the stem, remember those numbers, how we were talking about ones? Go in the leaf part. We're going to worry about the leaves in a minute. But whatever is in front of the ones is your stem. So real quick, what was the smallest test score that's going to be in this chart? What's the smallest test score that I'm going to need to put in the chart for Kelsey or for Tammy? Holland?
75.
The smallest test score, 68. That's the smallest test score in the entire group, right? What is the stem for 68? Kaya? 6. So I'm going to put that at the top. All right. Now, when I number my stem, I would do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I need to figure out where to stop. So what's the biggest number in my chart? Rylan? 100. And what is the stem of 100? 10. So that means I'm going to number it from 6 to 10. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I can stop there. If I had a test score of like 115, I would need an 11 there. All right? Evan? Then you didn't set it up the way I did to fill in the notes correctly. You might want to use a different sheet of paper. Okay? All right. So let's look at Kelsey's test. We're going to start with the row that says 6. So does Kelsey have any leaves that would need to go with that stem that says 6? Drew?
Yeah, 68, so put an 8.
Mm-hmm. So we can see right here, Kelsey has 68. 6 was my stem. 8 is in the ones place. 8 is the leaf. Are there any other numbers with 6 in the front? No. All right, so I'm looking at Kelsey's test. Now I'm looking for numbers that start with a 7. Joelle?
76.
76. So which part is my leaf? The 6. So the only thing I'm writing down is the 6 because we already have the 7. Do you see how because Kelsey, it's like Kelsey's the one facing backwards? So when I read it, I've got to read it backwards. 68. 76. What needs to go by my 8? What leaves do I need for my 8s? Aaron?
86.
Just give me the leaf.
Oh.
So what leaf would be with that? The 6 for 86. And what other leaf do I need? A 9 for 89. Okay, so I put 6, 9. And you notice I started with the 6 closest to my stem, and we're going to go out getting bigger. Are y'all okay with that? Okay, what about my 9s? What leaves do I need to go with my 9s? Brandon? So the leaf, what leaf do I need? 1. Perfect. 1, then 3, then 7. And the reason I want us to be specific about the leaf is just to make sure everyone understands. I'm not putting 91, 93, 97. I already have the 9 for the 90s. I'm just putting the 1, the 3, and the 7, whatever is in the ones place. Are y'all okay with that? All right, for Kelsey, what leaf do I need with my 10? Tyler? 0. Anything else? Because there's just a 100. All right. Tammy's test. What leaves do I need to put with my 6? Jonah? You don't write anything. Why would I not want to put a 0 there? What would be wrong with putting a 0, Lexi? It would write down a score of 60. Did Tammy make a 60? No. If Tammy didn't make a 60, does she want us to write down a 60? No. So we're going to leave that completely blank because that just means she didn't make any grades in the D's. All right? It's fine. All right, for number 7, for the stem of 7, what leaves do I need to go with 7 for Tammy? London?
5.
And?
8.
5 and 8, perfect. What leaves do I need to go with the 8 for Tammy? Catherine? 3 and 5. And another 5, because there were 2 85s. If we write down 2 85s, we definitely need to also write down 2 5s. All right, Aaron, for my 9.
3 and 9.
3 and 9. And Holland, for my 10. 0. Okay. All right. That's all there is to the stem and leaf. Really, the only thing stem and leaves are good for is like if I wanted to know how many A's did Tammy make? 1, 2, 3, because that 100 is an A too. What if I want to know how many B's did Kelsey make? Evan? 2, because I would just count there. That's when the stem and leaf could be helpful. The majority of the time, this is a lot more helpful than anything. The plus side is a stem and leaf is already in order. So if you're given a stem and leaf, it makes writing your numbers real easy. Okay? Jay? You could technically write none, but you're never going to see anything with words here. They're just going to leave it blank to show there's nothing there. All right, but I do like where your head's at because y'all know normally I like to see none, so I know you did it. But in this case, I can't make you do that. Okay? Huh? Yeah, 69. All right, London?
How would you do the percent on B's?
So let's do B's. That's a great question. Let's do that. It says, for how many science tests did Kelsey receive an 86% or above? It's not asking how to get 86%. 86% is the grade. That's the test score, right? So how many science tests did she get an 86% or higher? How many tests did that happen on, Aaron? 6 of them. So there's 86. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see where we're getting that, London? check under there. If I do, they would be under there. Grab some napkins. Okay. Who received the lowest score? Holland. Kelsey. It says compare the median and the range, which means I need to find the median and the range. Okay, so let's do Kelsey's first. The median. When I go to the center for Kelsey, I end up in between 89 and 91. I'm going to draw a little arrow. That's my median. What number is between 89 and 91? Holland?
76 and 86.
What number is between 89 and 91? That's where the middle is.
I'm sorry, I was like,
What number? Between 89 and 91.
9. What? I'm confused.
Evan, what number is between 89 and 91? If you don't know, add them and divide. Add them and divide. Evan, what number is between 89 and 91? 90. All right, so 90. All right, let's look at the median for Tammy. I end up in the middle of 85. So what's my median here going to be? Aaron? 85. All right, can someone give me a sentence comparing those, please? Jacob.
The difference between the two medians is Kelsey's median is 5 more than Tammy's median.
So I'm just going to take the last part of your sentence you said, told me, which says Kelsey's median
Is 5 more than Tammy's median.
is 5 more than Tammy's median. Do y'all agree that that compares both of them? It tells me how different they are. Are y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, so now we need to talk about the range. So let's do the range for Kelsey. How am I going to find the range for Kelsey? Jay? Difference. We need to do the difference of that big number and small number. So 168, what do I get when I subtract those? Ryan? 32. So my range for Kelsey is 32. My range for Tammy, what am I doing to find the range for Tammy? Cameron? All right, 175, what do we get there? 25, excellent. Can someone give me a sentence to talk about the range? Give me a sentence for the range. Drew?
Tammy's range is 7 less than Kelsey's range.
Very good. Tammy's range is 7 less than Kelsey's range. How else could I have worded that? Ryan?
Kelsey's range is 7 more than Tammy's range.
I could have said Kelsey's range is 7 more than Tammy's range. Then it would have matched our sentence above. Doesn't matter. Are they both saying the same thing? Yes. All right. Let's look down here at a histogram. All right. So when we're looking at histograms, number 1 says draw a histogram. A histogram looks a lot like a bar graph. All right. The difference is a bar graph. Just pick up another one from right there, the short stack. The difference is that the bar graph has to be separated, and a histogram, everything's going to look like it's connected. A bar graph talks about one thing at a time, like each bar represents either one number, one person, one group of people, whereas a histogram is going to represent something called intervals. All right? This is the only time you're going to make a histogram, right now. Okay. On the homework, it's asking questions about the histogram. On the test review, it's asking questions about the histogram. And on the test, it's asking questions about the histogram. So the graph will be done for you, okay? So when I'm making a graph, guys, I want it to have a title. What would be a good title for this graph that I'm fixing to draw? London?
Number of books read.
Yeah, if I'm making the graph about this chart, that title would be a good title for my graph. So number
Of books read.
of books red. And you should be writing this down. You don't want to get behind on here. All right. Now, when I'm making a bar graph, because I told you they're going to be very similar, I should have a line going up and down and a line going across to put numbers on. Do y'all agree? Yeah. To make a bar graph, we need both of those things. All right. Histograms. For a histogram, instead of just having numbers or names here, we're going to have something called intervals. Okay? Intervals. And what intervals are groups of numbers. So do y'all see where I have the groups of the numbers in my chart? So like 0 to 2, that's a group of numbers because it's 0, 1, and 2. 3 to 5 is a group of numbers because it's 3, 4, and 5. 6 to 8 is a group of numbers because it's 6, 7, and 8. Do I need to keep explaining that? No. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start by making a spot for my intervals to go. Now, if it's a group of numbers, can I just put one little mark? No. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a space for it. And inside that space, I'm going to say, hey, this whole space is 0 to 2. Y'all see how I made an actual section for that? Then I'm going to create a section next to that. What's my next section need to be?
3 to 5.
3 to 5. Make sure you're writing this down so we don't get behind.
Wait, where does the 0 to?
So do you see my chart right here? I have 0 to 2. That's an interval. That's a group of numbers.
Oh.
Then I have 3 to 5. That's a group of numbers. After 3 to 5, what am I going to have? Catherine? 6 to 8. So I'm going to do another section. And this section is going to be 6 to 8. My next section, Drew?
9 and 11.
9 to 11. And then my last section, Aaron? 12 to 14. Okay, so there's my sections. All right. What are each of those, what are all those groups of numbers? What are all of those intervals talking about?
Books.
The books. So these are the books that they read. Okay. The side going up and down, when we're talking about a histogram, this is always the frequency. So how many times did it happen? Okay, now if I look at my frequency, do y'all see how those are just individual numbers? So can I label that like I labeled the bottom? No. So when I label my frequency, I'm just going to do individual numbers. Guys, do it like a number line. What number do I need to go up to? 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And since I have space, 11 and 12, because y'all know I like to number it all the way. I could have numbered that by twos. I don't want to go to 5s because then they're too far apart, right? If I'm wanting to do 10 and like 3 and 4. Okay. All right. We're ready to start making our histogram. Okay, I'm going to show you the first section, and then I'm going to give you a second to write it down. So if you'll just wait for just a moment. 0 to 2. How high does this interval, how high does this need to go up to? Drew? 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start close to that line, all the way by it, and I'm going to go up to 6, and I'm going to draw a bar that goes all the way to the edge of that section that I made it. Do y'all see how I made that bar? The entire section. Okay? And typically we'll kind of color these in to make them easy to see. All right, you can say I'm not coloring it in a lot. I'm not spending a lot of time. This isn't art class. All right? When I do the next section, they should be touching. They should be connected to each other. On a bar graph, they cannot be touching. But for the interval, do you see how 0 to 2 connects and goes right into 3 to 5, which connects to 6 to 8? So we want them touching, okay? So 3 to 5, how high do I need to go for that, Holland? 10. So I'm going to go up to 10, making sure, just kind of draw it as straight as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? And I'm going to fill that in, just to make it look pretty. Okay. Obviously a little bit too much. All right. 6 to 8, how high, Bella? To 7. So be careful. Make sure we go in the middle of that line where the 7 is. Okay. After 6 to 8, how high do I need to go for 9 to 11? Aaron? 3. That goes to 3. Again, we're just using this chart up here. So 3. Okay, and then for 12 to 14, Jay?
4.
4. So in that chart it says 4, so I'm going to go all the way up to that line. Okay. All right, there you go. You just made a histogram. Only time you have to do it, okay?
Yeah.
The main thing that's going to be asked on the test is not to make one, but to use one. So if you'll notice, B, C, and D are questions about that histogram. B says, how many students read 6 or more books? So if I look at this histogram, 6 to 8 is 6 or more, right? 9 to 11 is
6 or more.
6 or more, and 12 to 14 is 6 or more. So I'm not just talking about this one bar. I'm talking about all three of them. Do you see how this whole space right here is 6 or more? So, how tall is this first line going to be? How tall is that first line, Aaron?
7.
It's up at 7. How tall is the next line that I'm given? Holland?
3.
3. And how tall is that last line, Bella? 4. So if I put all of that together, how many students read 6 or more? Yes?
I think Maddie back, please check out.
She's on her way. Jacob?
14.
14. Okay, questions about B. Do y'all see how I use that graph to fill in those numbers? Question?
So like when it's 6 or more, you add up all the things.
I'm going to add the ones I need.
They're like the.
So if it had said how many students read 6 to 8 books, then I could just look at that one thing. But because it said 6 or more, I have to do all of the ones that are 6 and more. Okay? London?
If it said how many students read 6 to 8 books, would you say 1 for like that whole
You would
thing?
say?
Or you say 2.
You would say 7. Because it goes up to 7. Okay? If I just wanted to know 6 to 8, I would answer with 7. Jay? It doesn't say how many read 6. It says how many read 6 or more. So that means how many read 6, how many read 7, how many read 8, how many read 9. It wants to know all of them. Does that make sense? All right, Hayden? Can we finish this real quick? All right, number 9. How many students read between 9 and 14? So 9 starts right here, right? There's my 9 to 11. 14 stops right here. So how many students are in that entire section? Holland?
7.
7. I have 3 here and 4. Put those together. That gives me 7. You okay with that, Joel?
So when you're doing a histogram, like C or D, you normally just adding.
All right, London.
When you record on there, can you see like what you write?
All right, Evan. What interval contains the highest frequency? 3 to 5. So this one, see my frequency, it goes the tallest on that chart. So 3 to 5 would be my interval with the highest frequency. Are y'all okay with that? All right. Let's flip that over. Number 1 on the homework. Number 1 on the homework says we want to make a stem and leaf plot. To make a stem and leaf plot, what's the first thing I want to do?
Put all of them.
Holland?
You gotta put them all in order.
I want to put them in order. Is there enough room right there to do number 1? No, that's why I told you to go ahead and have a piece of paper out. So we're going to do number 1 on this piece of paper. And the first thing we're going to do is put them in order. So I'm going to start by listing my numbers for the bus. Okay, and this is number 14, so it stays with those notes and they're together. All right, so for my bus, give me my numbers. Kaya. 9. 13.
13.
She said 13. 14. 16. 17. 24. 25. 28. 30. 35. 39 and
47.
47. Okay. Guys, I do want to say real quick that each time I've asked y'all to read out the numbers, I really do appreciate that you're taking your time, finding them, and giving them to me in order. And some of my other classes and my advanced are actually more guilty of this than my regular classes. A lot of times my advanced students want to make it a race and do it as quickly as possible. That has happened in every advanced class today, and they have missed numbers every time. So take your time, list them. Great job to Kaya and Aaron, who did one earlier, and who else did one earlier? Bella, thank you. All right. JC, thank you. All right, hey, let's look at the next one. So now I need to do my car. Focus. Focus. All right, Holland. 11. 12.
17, 18, 20, 23, 25, 26, 29, 32, 36.
Okay, there you go. All right. And you notice I did skip a line in case I need to do some work because I think it says something about the median and range in that question, so I left some space for me to be able to do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that stem and leaf plot. So starting with on one side, we're going to have the bus. That stem is in the middle. And on the other side is the car. Can someone tell me what numbers do I need in my stem? What numbers would I need to go from? Starting it out. Aaron? Okay, so 9 is my smallest number. What number would be in the stem from 9? What number? 0. So I'm going to go from 0. What is my biggest number?
9. Oh, bigger 47.
47. And what would be in the stem from 47? 4. The 4. So I need to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, and I need to go all the way down to 4. So I've got to add a row. I like to do mine shorter. That way if I need to add a row, I can just make it longer as opposed to having to erase since I'm using a pen. Okay. All right, for the bus, next to 0, what kind of leaves do I need for the bus? Holland? 9. Anyone else? Any other ones? All right, for the bus, what stems do I need by 1, Joelle?
13, 14.
Stems.
Oh.
I'm sorry, leaves. What leaves do I need? 3.
4, 6,
3, 4, 6, and 7 from 13, 14, 16, and 17. All right, Jay, for number 2, what do I need for my leaves for the 2? Mm-hmm. We are using all the numbers. What do you mean? Does this go up to my 50s? Remember, my stem is the part. Yeah. All right, Jacob, what's going to go for my leaves on the 2s? 4, 5, and 8. For the bus, for the 3s, Aaron?
0, 5, and 9.
0, 5, and 9. And for the 4s, Jonah? 7. For my car, what do I need for my leaves next to 0? For the car, what are the leaves going to be by 0, Aaron?
None. You just leave it blank.
Leave it blank. You don't write anything down at all. All right, for the 1s, what are my leaves? Joelle?
1, 2.
Just make sure. Wait. Okay, keep going. Sorry. 1, 2.
7 and 8.
Thank you. All right, what about for my 2s, JC?
4, 0, 3. Wait.
You're right.
Yeah, 0, 3, 5, 6, and 9.
Okay, so that one had a lot. And guys, if you want to do like the buses ones, the cars ones, the buses, 2s, cars 2s, you can. I just think it's easier to look at one list. Rylan, the 3s? 2 and 6. And for the 4s, Tyler? 1. All right, so I did my stem and leaf. We need to talk about the median and the range. All right, so let's find the median first. When I find the median on the buses, starting at the end, working my way to the inside, I end up at 24 and 25. So what is my median going to be for 24 and 25? Kaya. 24.5. That's what's in the middle. Or you can write 25 at 24 and a half. I'm okay with either one of those. Remember, if you don't know that, just automatically in your head add them and divide by 2. All right, what about for the car? What am I in between here, Aaron?
23 and 25.
The 23 and the 25 for the median. What does that give me?
24.
24 is what's in the middle. Okay, give me a sentence comparing those real quick. The medians, Evan?
The bus's median is 1/2 bigger than the car's median.
The bus's median is, I like how Evan said 1/2. Most people to say it said 0.5, so I'm going to write that down for the video. The bus's median is 0.5 larger or bigger than the car's median. Okay? We also need to do that for the range. So the range on the bus, how am I going to find the range for the bus? Aaron?
You add up, you subtract the smallest number to the biggest number.
Okay, so 47 minus 9, what does that give me?
38.
38. All right, my range for the car. What am I doing for the range on the car, Jonah?
41 minus 11.
41 minus 11, which is? 30. Okay, give me an explanation, or a comparison for the range there. London.
The bus's range is 8 bigger than the car's range.
The bus's range is 8 larger than the car's range. Hayden?
Is it okay if I said the car's range is 8 less than the bus's range?
Yes, the car's range is 8 less than the bus's range. Yes. Okay. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is talking about 2 teams. I'm assuming that they are playing.
Hockey.
No, they're probably playing basketball because those scores are high. Hockey is a very low scoring game. All right, so let's start with our Tigers. Okay, Tigers. We want to put those in order. Brandon, give me my numbers in order.
52.
Okay.
54.
Okay.
5.
Mm-mm.
Wrong.
Here.
74.
52, 54 is good so far. We're leaving one out. Bottom row.
Oh, 58.
Mm-hmm. When you're on the spot and everyone's turned around staring at you, my students that need to mind their own business and work on their paper, okay? All right, thank you. 65? Okay.
74. 77. 78. 80. 86. And 88.
Sure. 77, 78, 80, 86, 88. All right, so I'm going to skip a line again just in case I need to do any work. And we're going to do the Eagles. The Eagles in order for me. Jay.
50. 53. 58.
Skipped one.
54.
54. 58.
62.
Hold on. We missed something.
It's 58 twice.
58 is there twice.
Number 15.
All right, so I gotta go slow, make sure I don't miss any. Okay, so 58. Okay, and now it's harder for me to look back. So then it was 62, then 67, 70, 72.
You forgot 66.
Okay. Guys, this is a really good learning opportunity. You got to take your time on these numbers because a lot of y'all are dependent on Jay. So we got 66, then 67, then 72, 70, 72, then 75, then 82. And I'm just going to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we do have the right number now. Yes. All right. So we're going to start with our tigers on one side. How many numbers? What numbers do I need in my stem here? What numbers do I need in the stem? Aaron? 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, 5 through 8. That's good. All right. Yes. Let's wait. Okay. All right. For the tigers, give me my leaves to go with number 5. Remember my first spell, folks. You can watch the video. We're still going through these, so please leave quietly. What are my leaves to go with 5 on the tigers? Linda.
2,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
and 8.
2, 4, and 8. Make sure you're looking at the tigers, not the eagles, because I almost messed up. All right. Tigers, what leaves are going to go with my 6? Taylor. 5 and 6. For the 7, my folks that are in here, we're still working. 7, Jacob. 0.
2, 5.
I think it's for the tigers.
Oh, tigers, my bad.
0,
4,
4. 0, 4, 7, and 8. All right. For the tigers on the 8, what leaves do I need?
Did you see like something I left on my desk? Because I don't got my
Jonah? The 8. 0, 6, and 8. All right. For the eagles on the 5, what leaves do I need? Cameron?
0, 3, 4, 8.
Make sure we have both of the 8s there. For the 6, what leaves do I need, Holland?
2, 6, and 7.
All right. London for the 7s.
0, 2, and 5.
0, 2, and 5. For the 8s, Joelle? 2. All right. I think on this one, that's really all we needed to do. It's not asking about the median or the range, but we do have some questions to answer. So I'm going to put that to the side, and let's answer these real quick. Which team scored the highest number of points? Which team scored the highest number of points? Evan? The Tigers. All right. They got all the way up to 88 points. How many times did the Tigers score in the 80s? So this is going to be helpful in the sim and leads. Evan? 3. How many times did the Eagles score in the 80s? Catherine? How many times did the Eagles score in the 80s? Once. All right. Questions about number 2. All right. So the next thing we need to do is look at number 3. So this is where we're talking about those intervals again. All right. So number 3 says, which interval represents the most number of cyclists? So guys, this frequency, those are my cyclists. Down here is the finishing times. This is the times, okay? So which interval, which group of numbers has the most cyclists? London.
64.
This is the highest interval, which is talking about that 60 to 64. Very good. All right? Which interval, and I'm going to erase this, which interval has 7 cyclists? Which one has 7 cyclists? Brandon? So this one, that's between the 6 and the 8. So that has to be 65 to 69. How many cyclists had a time less than 70? So there's where 70 is, right? But I need less than that. So that's talking about all of these cyclists. How many cyclists would that be? Drew? 16. I have 9 here, and I have 7 there. 9 and 7 gives me 16. How many cyclists had times in the interval of 70 to 74? How many cyclists were there, Tyler?
5.
5. Okay? Questions about number 3? Alright, I'm going to erase this. Y'all got that written down? Okay. So let's erase that, and then we're going to move it down to the last one. Alright. Now this time, be careful. We're talking about 6th grade class sales and 7th grade class sales. Which grade had more students earn between 400 and 599? So I'm looking at this interval right here on both graphs. Which grade had the higher bar out of those two graphs? Hale. 6th grade. So 6th grade is higher. They're closer to 20. 7th grade is closer to 15. So this is going to be 6th grade. All right. Which grade had fewer students earn less than 200? So that's going to be that 0 to 99. That's less than 200. Which grade had fewer students in that column, Joelle?
6th grade.
6th grade again. So we can see that one's the smaller one. So 6th grade. How many students from both grades earned 600 or more? So now I'm looking at 600 or more. So that's all of this. Do y'all agree?
Yes.
All of this for both of those. So let's start with 6. All right, for 6th grade, how many do you think is in this first column here? How many do you think that is, Evan? 9, I would probably agree. Looks about 9. What about in the second column? How many does that look like, Tyler?
6. 7.
Remember, don't.
I was thinking of 8.
Yeah, I think you're looking at the other one. So in this column right here, how many does that look like?
5.
5 probably. So 9 and 5 gives me
16. Oh wait, that was my
14. All right, so let's look at our 7th grade. So 7th grade, Drew, how many does that look like in the first column?
That looks like about 8.
About 8. I think in some classes we said 7, in some classes we said 8. Again, it says about. So I'm okay. We're kind of having to estimate there, okay? So I have 8. What about in the second column, London?
3.
3, okay. And 8 and 3, how much does that give me?
11.
11. In some classes, we said like, I think all of them we said 3. This one, some of us thought 7. That's okay.
Mine said 2.
All right, we can't put 9 for that because 9 has to be really close. Kind of like here where we're seeing that 20. It's close to 20, so it has to be a little bit closer for a 9 there, all right? So I'm good with 14 and 11 or 14 and 10. Those are the main ones that we've gotten. Are there questions about that problem? All right, the last one. Which grade had the most sales overall? All right, and I'm not looking for an exact amount, but overall, if I'm looking at the charts, who do you think did better, Ryan?
7th grade.
So the 7th grade?
6th grade.
6th grade.
6th grade is going to be better because look,
They have
if I look here, the only place the 7th grade beat 6th grade is in this first column. For the rest of them, here we go, 6th grade one there. They have more.
6th grade.
Oh, you're fine. 6th grade one here, 6th grade had more here, and 6th grade had more here. Since 6th grade is winning on all of these other columns, that should put them ahead. But that's a good thing for us to talk about in the video, even though we just said that.
That's because 6th grade's way better.
Over now.
Until next year.
Of course 6th grade is better.
Until we move to next year, then the 7th grade will be better.